For nearly half a century, humanity has had two silent explorers moving steadily outward long after anyone expected them to fall quiet. They were built for a brief encounter with the outer planets, never for endurance across decades of deep space. Yet they continue to operate in a region no human-made object was ever intended to survive for so long. Far beyond Jupiter, Saturn, and the last faint warmth of the Sun's influence, they are still sending data back from a place that feels less like a destination and more like a threshold between what is known and what is still being mapped. These spacecraft are Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Recent scientific attention has returned to them not because of a single dramatic breakthrough, but because of a slow accumulation of subtle, persistent irregularities in their data that invite a deeper question. What does the boundary of a star system actually look like when it is not treated as a line but as a living region of interaction? The story begins with one of the most transformative ideas in spaceflight: gravity assist. In the 1960s and 1970s, trajectory specialists such as Michael Minovich helped formalize the mathematics showing that a spacecraft could gain velocity by passing near a planet, effectively borrowing a tiny fraction of its orbital energy. This insight turned planetary motion into a tool. When rare alignments of the outer planets occur, a single spacecraft can be routed through multiple encounters, multiplying its reach without requiring impossible amounts of fuel. NASA recognized that a once-in-176-year alignment offered a unique opportunity. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 were launched in 1977 with missions originally defined in modest terms: study the outer planets, return images and measurements, and then continue outward until contact faded. They were not designed for interstellar space, nor for decades of operation beyond their planned lifespan. They were designed for a tour. Instead, they became something far larger in scientific meaning. Voyager 1 revealed Jupiter not as a calm gas giant, but as an active and violent system with storms larger than Earth and intense radiation belts that reshaped expectations of planetary environments. It also captured volcanic activity on Io, demonstrating that tidal forces from a giant planet could heat a moon's interior and drive continuous geological change. Voyager 2 extended this transformation of understanding further, becoming the only spacecraft to visit Uranus and Neptune. It revealed tilted magnetic fields that behave unlike anything seen around other planets, atmospheric circulation patterns that defy simple scaling from Jupiter and Saturn, and ring systems far more intricate than expected. These were not incremental discoveries. They fundamentally redefined what outer planets meant in planetary science. After the planetary encounters, both spacecraft continued outward toward the heliosphere, the vast region dominated by the solar wind emitted by the Sun. This region was long imagined as a kind of protective bubble, a stable boundary separating solar influence from interstellar space. The outer edge of this bubble, the heliopause, was expected to behave like a relatively clean transition line. Inside, dominated by solar particles. Outside, dominated by interstellar particles. A simple division between two distinct environments. But when Voyager 1 crossed this boundary in 2012 and Voyager 2 followed in 2018, the data did not match that simplicity. Particle densities shifted gradually. Magnetic field directions changed in ways that were not fully aligned with predictions, and the transition appeared extended rather than sharp. Instead of a clean edge, the spacecraft revealed a broad turbulent interaction zone where solar and interstellar influences overlap and continuously reshape one another. This forced a conceptual shift. The heliosphere is now understood not as a rigid shell but as a dynamic structure constantly sculpted by solar activity on one side and galactic magnetic forces on the other. Some models describe ripples and folds forming in response to solar cycles. Others suggest elongated distortions that stretch and compress depending on external pressure from the interstellar medium. What was once drawn as a simple boundary now appears more like a process than a location. something that evolves rather than separates. As Voyager data accumulated beyond the heliopause, another layer of complexity emerged. Researchers analyzing particle measurements in interstellar space detected fluctuations that did not fully align with expectations for a sparse, uniform environment. Cosmic ray intensity behaved largely as predicted, increasing outside the heliosphere. But plasma wave data revealed structured oscillations in regions assumed to be extremely quiet. These were not sounds in any human sense, but organized electromagnetic vibrations in plasma that appeared far from random. In a region once thought to be nearly empty, the data suggests persistent dynamical structure rather than stillness. Some scientists interpret these features as natural consequences of plasma physics in low-density environments where magnetic fields and charged particles can still produce wave-like organization. Others note that the coherence and repetition in certain signals hint at incomplete models of the local interstellar medium. The debate remains open, but what is not in doubt is that the region beyond the heliopause is more structured than early models assumed. Voyager did not find emptiness. It found a medium with its own subtle. Voyager 1 has also experienced periods of unusual telemetry behavior where data packets appeared internally inconsistent even while the spacecraft itself continued functioning. Engineers traced some anomalies to aging onboard systems operating far beyond design limits, including memory components and fault protection logic responding unpredictably after decades of exposure to radiation and thermal cycling. In some cases, inactive subsystems were found to influence data formatting in unexpected ways, creating patterns that initially resembled deeper system failure but ultimately reflected the fragility of long-duration hardware at the edge of operational possibility. What makes this more striking is the communication delay. A signal from Voyager 1 now takes more than 22 hours to reach Earth. Every command sent from mission control arrives almost a day later. Every response is already part of the past by the time it is received. Interaction with the spacecraft has become stretched across time, turning control into something closer to delayed dialogue than real-time operation. Even simple adjustments require planning across a temporal gap that no terrestrial system normally experiences. Despite this, both spacecraft continue functioning. Their power comes from slowly decaying radioisotope sources, steadily diminishing year by year. To preserve minimal operation, engineers have gradually shut down heaters, instruments, and non-essential systems. Yet, even under these constraints, faint but consistent signals continue to arrive. These transmissions are not dramatic, but they are persistent, carrying measurements from a region no other spacecraft has reached. Over time, the Voyagers have become more than machines. They have become reference points for understanding the structure of our cosmic neighborhood. What their data increasingly suggests is that the boundary of the solar system is not an endpoint but a gradient. It is a transition region where solar and interstellar influences interweave continuously. Instead of a wall separating inside and outside, the solar system appears to fade into the galaxy through a structured interface shaped by competing forces. This realization carries broader implications. It suggests that our conceptual maps are not wrong but incomplete in structure. The edge of a stellar system is not a boundary in the traditional sense, but an extended region of interaction shaped by magnetic fields, particle flows, and galactic environment. Future heliophysics missions aim to refine this picture, constructing three-dimensional maps of the heliosphere and tracking how it responds to solar cycles and interstellar conditions. Whether Voyager's observations represent local variation or a universal property of star systems remains an open question. Even so, their legacy is already profound. They revealed active volcanism on distant moons, contributed to the discovery of potential subsurface oceans on worlds like Europa and Enceladus, and delivered one of humanity's most iconic images: Earth as a pale blue dot suspended in sunlight. Now, in their final phase, they are contributing to a different kind of discovery: one not of planets, but of the space between them. There is a quiet irony in this. Machines built with 1970s technology, limited memory, and minimal processing capability continue to inform modern astrophysics at the farthest edge of human reach. Their longevity was never planned, yet it has become one of their most scientifically valuable traits. Each new data stream adds another fragment to a picture still forming. Each anomaly challenges assumptions about plasma physics, magnetic structure, and the true shape of the heliosphere. In the end, the deeper implication is simple but profound. The edge of the solar system is not an ending. It is an evolving interface between environments. And beyond it lies not emptiness, but structured interstellar space shaped by forces still being understood. The Voyagers have not reached the end of anything. They have entered the beginning of a region that science is only starting to define. And as long as their faint signals continue to arrive, delayed but persistent, they carry the same quiet message from the most distant human-made objects ever built. The story of space does not end at the edge of the solar system.